Hi, my name is Jennifer Speth, and this is my Screencastify to identify cite evidence that my instructional component requirements have been met for my blended classroom. For this unit, I decided to do a science unit. Second grade science, I teach second grade, so I just wanted to do exactly what I'm doing in my classroom. And our unit is going to be matter. So I just started off with a unit that I'm going to be using in my classroom this spring. So the first thing I want to point out on Google Classroom, just because this wasn't one of the original options to use for this assignment, I just want to show you quickly how to navigate Google Classroom if you are unfamiliar with it. So on Google Classroom, we have the stream page, which is primarily used for announcements or quick questions. So I can announce something to my class, and students also have the option to ask the teacher a question on this page. I can just make, a welcome announcement. I made a key code for assignments, a color key code, and I can just post additional announcements like join our class Flipgrid. It's very easy to clean up this page. If it starts to get too crowded with old announcements, I can easily go in and delete them or move them around to put the most important on top. Next, we have our Classwork tab. If you notice, the Bitmoji is using the pointer stick to try to point to the Classwork tab. I do this on purpose. All of the assignments are in the Classwork tab. When students are new to Google Classroom, a lot of times they'll just sit on the stream page and not know where to go. So I just want to point out to click on Classwork tab, and I even wrote it on the whiteboard here. Next, you have the people in your class. You can click on this and see who is in our class. You can send them a private message. You can send the teachers a private message. And I also have the ability to add co-teachers here. So co-teachers can see and view and edit all the assignments. Next, we have our grade book. So this is only for the teacher. The student page will look different, but this is what the teacher page looks like. It just has all of the assignments, and the grades will correspond here directly. So you'll see that I've uploaded all of these assignments. If it says missing, it just means it's past the due date. So this assignment was due February 12th. So that's why it says missing for everybody. If something is done late, a little green symbol done late will pop up underneath the score, but it will still score the assignment for me. I also have the ability to go in and edit the scores, or I have the ability to automatically grade things that come from Google Forms. All right, let's move into the Classwork tab. So the way I organized my unit is to break it up into folders or sections based on the lesson. So I do have a Start Here section. This is where students can introduce themselves. I set up a Padlet for this assignment where students can use video or voice recording to introduce themselves to their classmates. I also did post an example on there for them. And I have a pre-assessment for the course. The pre-assessment is going to act as two things for me. One, to see prior knowledge of what students already know about matter. And second, to see how they're feeling about this course. Do they feel like this is going to be super easy? Do they feel like this is something that's really going to challenge them? And they're going to be able to set goals for themselves here. If you notice, my color code corresponds to different assignments. I'm going to quickly go back to my stream just to show you once again. So my classwork key code, directions are posted in yellow. Book pages to be used as reading and practice are posted in purple. Blue are my lesson check and assessments, and those should be turned in on time. Red are Edpuzzle, Padlet, Flipgrid, and Quizlet. Those are my Web 2.0 tools that I am using throughout this course. I want to keep things consistent with my second graders. They are still young, and I don't want to introduce them to just tons of new things. So I want to choose Web 2.0 tools that I know they can use appropriately. Green are my additional resources, just videos that I've posted or Google Slides that I've posted, things for them to use kind of as they wish. And then my white dot is discussion forums and questions. Okay, next I have my course information. This will stay at the top of my course the whole time. Students know to access it. I have teacher contact information. I have my course description. I have my syllabus attached right here. They can just easily click on it. This is a view-only document for all the students in the course. So when students open the syllabus, you'll notice that I have lots of hyperlinks throughout my syllabus. This will hyperlink, this first hyperlink right here will take you right back to the main homepage for the class. I have my unit summary and my standards. I also have attached in hyperlink all of my assessments, so my pre-assessment, my lesson 1 check, so on and so forth. You'll see here's a list of all my assessments and evaluations, my school policies, and my references. Students can refer to this page whenever they want. Next, I have resources and troubleshooting. One thing is with second graders, these students are still really little. When they first came to me in September, they did not know how to turn on the computer, many of them. So we've come a long way, but I still have a lot of my resources and troubleshooting videos here. As a quick example, I'll just open the second one here, Google Classroom. This is just a quick tutorial video that I made regarding Google Classroom and how students should use it. So if they click it and open it, it will open up this video in Drive. And you can see that I made just a really quick video tutorial for them on
Hi RMS families.
Google
Today
Classroom.
I'm going to give you
and I've done the same for, how to log into your Gmail, how to mark an assignment as done, just something very simple. But these are all just quick, few-minute videos that they can use to help themselves throughout the course. Next, I do have my classroom policies. And once again, I did put my key code here again for students. In this course, I'm having all work due on Fridays by 6 p.m. and work should be completed. So you should complete lesson 1 before moving on to lesson 2. And that's going to be for the entire course. I know in other places like Canvas or Schoolology, there's other ways that you can post assignments that way they can't unlock one assignment until the other. There is an example of how to do this on Google Classroom. It's just not user-friendly for you to be able to see all my assignments. So what I did down here is I made this something called an example unit. As a student, you wouldn't be able to see this yet because I have not posted anything yet. But here you can see I have an example post or assignment, and it is not scheduled until March 20th. So here I can see it on my teacher page, but students would not be able to see this yet. One way that I could do this in Google Classroom is in order to, I could unlock each assignment by simply scheduling it to post at a certain time. Like I said, I did not do that for all of my assignments because I wanted you to be able to see my assignments, but I do have the ability to do that on Google Classroom. And of course, I do have my references here. Next is my discussion forum. This is just an open area for students to discuss, ask questions to myself or to their peers. This is not something that is graded. This is just an open discussion forum. This is not content related. Next, we're moving on to our first lesson. So this is kind of where we start getting into the main meat and potatoes of this unit. So first, as you can see, I have all of my color codes. Yellow is for directions. They can just open this and quickly see the directions for the unit. Next, I have my book pages. The book pages really for this course are just for them to read. If they want, there's a few activities on them that they can do as they please, but it's really just more so for reading and resources. Next, we have a video, Physical Properties of Matter. This is just a video that I've posted here. Then we do have an Edpuzzle lesson. So this will have to get done and turned in. And then we have our lesson 1 check. All of the lesson checks they're the same style, they're the same format. I did this on purpose to create consistency within my second grade classroom. Like I said, these students are still young and I need to create consistency and slowly ease them into things. So here I just have, some quick questions. I use lots of images and pictures to help the students understand. So when they have completed all of their work for lesson 1 and it's all turned in, then they can move to lesson 2. As you'll see, it's a very similar format. In lesson 2, I do have a discussion question. This is a content-related discussion question where I use higher level thinking questions for them to begin, just start critically thinking about what we are learning about. And then once again, they have another lesson check, which is using Google Forms to assess their work. How I use this in my classroom, the lesson checks, is this is a way for me to quickly see who is doing really well with the work, who's really understanding the material, and who needs extra support. This gives me the chance to see which students need extra support, and then utilizing Google Meetings and breakout rooms, I can pull students into small groups or one-on-one and give them the extra support they need. And my easiest way to do this is by these quick lesson checks. They're each 5 questions. They shouldn't take the students a very long time to do, but it gives me enough information to know who needs extra help. Moving on to lesson 3, once again, I do have my directions, my book pages. For Explore Cooling and Explore Heating, you'll notice that I have this 2 ways. This is essentially the same lesson, but I made it in 2 different ways for students to learn how they want to learn. So first I made a YouTube video, which I just basically used Screencastify to go over the slides and to play the slides. Now, they could just watch the YouTube video if they want, if that's their preferred style of learning, or they could use the Google Slides. People that are more visual people or want to really take their time and go slow may prefer the Google Slides version. So here they have all the Google Slides, and say they are on lesson 4. They're still going to get a chance to see my videos, my small clips, but they're not going to see the whole thing in one big shot. So it's their choice. They could use this as kind of just extra information. I do list here at the end, like lesson objective, the conclusion, critical thinking, and analyzing results. So this gives students the ability to go back and take notes essentially, or use this as their notes. And same goes with my Explore Heating. I did a Screencastify of going through the slides and playing the videos and stopping and explaining, but they could use just the slides or they could watch the YouTube video. Next, I have another Ed Puzzle lesson and the lesson check again. Moving on to lesson 4, once again, as you can see, consistency throughout this entire unit. Directions, book pages. I do have an Ed Puzzle activity here and a Flipgrid activity. So in the Flipgrid, they can use video to once again then answer a critical thinking question. So this is a higher level question on Bloom's taxonomy. And this is a way for students to tell me in a different way, not just on a Google form, but to explain to me in video what I'm asking them. So this is just a different way for me to assess students. And then once again, I have my lesson 4 check. So this whole unit was made up of 4 main lessons, and now I'm moving on to my performance task or my group project. Here, I very clearly stated a rubric of how they will be graded on this group project. So you'll see it's nice and clear how many points they're going to get for each thing. And then I have my directions. On the directions, I did link the rubric again for students to have in a different place and in a different format if it's easier for them to read. I also voice recorded the directions here. So by clicking on this hyperlink, you can go to my voice recorded directions. For a big project like this, where it's not simple directions, I think this is helpful to help 2nd graders that don't know how to read yet. Here for each group, I did hyperlink their Google slideshow presentation. So once again, just another way for them to get to where they need to be. That way I'm just allowing equal access for all students for different styles of learning. I do have the self-evaluation hyperlinked here as well, and all of the written directions, and once again, the rubric. So for this project, I didn't want them to just tell me what they would do, or I didn't want them to just fill out what they think they would do. I want students to be able to work together. So I have a few different assignments. For this activity, I broke students into groups of 3, and there will be a student A, B, and C. Student A will be the recorder of notes on Kami. So that once again, Kami is another Web 2.0 tool that students can use to take notes. So this is something that we started utilizing in my classes here, and it's been life-changing. I highly recommend it. So students know how to do it already. However, I did link here resources of how to work Kami. So a link, and then also another link to open with Kami if they're having trouble. So I did link all of that here. So that is my student A. Student B is the engineer of the boat. I do recommend to my students to pick the student with the most supplies at their house, or the most things that they're allowed to use with parent permission. And then student C is the presenter of information to the class. Now, while all students do have one thing that they are responsible for, they do have to work together on the slideshow presentation. And how I did that is I made 4 groups and a slideshow for each group. Now, this is just a template for them. Students know to make a colorful background, insert images and pictures. And in the rubric, it clearly states that they are to insert pictures and videos throughout the slideshow, just like I did for the Explore Heating and Explore Cooling. I kind of did mine as an example for this lesson, and I do explain that to students. So here they just have very basic template for them to use. However, this is a chance for them to really be creative and show me what they can do. Now, all students in the group have access to this, and this is not designed for one person to be responsible for. This part right here is designed for all students in the group to work on together simultaneously. And the reason I love Google Slides and Google breakout rooms is because students can be on a meeting, working with each other and discussing it, while also working on this all at the same time. It really provides a collaborative tool for students to work together in Google. So you'll see that each group has their own section to work in. The Kami notes are available to all students, even though only one student is responsible for submitting it. The directions are available here for all students. And then last but not least is the project evaluation. So when they are all done with their project, they're going to go to the self-evaluation. They're going to evaluate how they felt they did individually, how their group did working together. They're going to tell me what they were responsible for, something that their group did really well on, and something that maybe their group could improve for next time. So this is the performance task. This will give me a whole week working on just this one group assignment. And then we get to our review and post-assessment. So once again, I do have the directions for the week. They have unit review materials, which are book pages, just like all of the other weeks. They do have a Quizlet study set. This is something that should be completed on Quizlet. They have the final assessment. So this is where I take all the idea of the lesson checks and pre-assessment and put it together using higher level thinking questions from Bloom's taxonomy. This is where students really have to apply what they've learned and to critically think about all of the questions. This is a 10-question assignment. I don't believe in making assignments or assessments super long for little kids. For me, it's more quality over quantity for assessments. So this is for students to really apply what they've learned in this course. And then finally, they have the course self-assessment. They take this at the very end after they've completed everything. And this is for them to assess, did they put in effort to this course? Did they do all the assignments? What do they feel like they did really good on? What could they have improved on? And one thing I love to add is, what could I have done better to help you this course? So tell me something that maybe I could have done better. Maybe I could have made some directions more clear, because as a teacher, we are always learning as well. I don't think any teacher is perfect, and I always take, student opinions very seriously. So once again, I did want to point out this example unit. This is nothing that students have to do. I was just putting this here to show you that I do have a way to schedule assignments to not be set to a certain time. So for example, I could just post all of lesson 1 and then not have lesson 2 posted until the following week. However, just like we do in Canvas for our course, however, I did not do that for this, because then you wouldn't be able to see it as a student in the class. So I just did this as an example for you. Once again, all of the grades do correspond directly with the grade book that's right here, which is really nice. And I do have the ability to go in and edit if I need to. So say this one really wasn't missing, I can go in and change it. Or say a student sent it to me a different way because they were having technology problems, I do have the ability to go in and edit as I need. So overall for this course, I think I provided quality pre-assessment and final assessment, as well as weekly checks. I did include a syllabus with hyperlinks to all of the assignments. I did include the troubleshooting page and all of the course information. I use a plethora of Web 2.0 tools. However, I made sure they were age appropriate. For example, Padlet, Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, videos, Quizlet, in addition to Google Forms, Google Slides for students to work and collaborate together. I feel as in this course, I provided an easy layout for all of my students to understand and for my students to be able to work successfully, independently in second grade. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my course.